Invocation by Councilmember Jamie Stout, followed by the flag salute.
Please bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for the blessings that you have given us, dear Lord. Just be with us tonight and guide us as we handle the city's business, and be with those who are hurting, and be with those who are sick in our community, and just bring us together, dear Lord. We ask this all in your name. Amen.
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 Sorry.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oklahoma flag.
I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma. Its symbols of peace unite all people.
Finance Committee, agenda item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of August 12th, 2024, or take other necessary action.
Our minutes are before us. Do we have any corrections or additions to our minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve our minutes. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Tracy Hoos?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments August 3rd, 2024 through August 30th, 2024, or take other necessary action.
Do we have a report from the Purchasing Committee?
Yes, the purchasing committee did meet this afternoon, and we approved the claims, and I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve our claims list. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hoos?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Item number 2 passes. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval for the application and acceptance of grant funding in the amount of $36,146 from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for a basic swimming and water safety skills training program to be implemented at the Muskogee Swim and Fitness Center in partnership with Muskogee Public Schools, or take other necessary action.
Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of council. Appreciate your time. My name is Kevin Enthus. I'm the manager at the Muskogee Swim and Fitness Center department. A little background on this application. We kind of squeezed in right at the last minute for the application deadline last October, and have kind of gone back and forth with presenting information to the CDC. So they recently gave us an acceptance letter. Hopefully you've had time to look at that and see that back from July. This has been reviewed by the legal team. Sorry, can you hear me now? All right, sorry, maybe I'm loud enough anyways. But has been gone through the legal department for the city, approved all the wording on the terms and conditions, and just kind of a real short basic overview. The idea here is to develop a program that will get more kids into swim lessons, and this should also help to develop the kind of like a streamline from our swim lessons into hopefully a Muskogee High School swim team. So this kind of works in conjunction with Muskogee Public Schools. We've been in discussions with them. We've also been in discussions with MLK Center in how we can partner with different systems that are already set up to kind of get our goal of 400 students taught swim lessons throughout this program. So would recommend approval, and happy to answer any questions on this.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Kevin?
Move for approval.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hoos?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Item number 3 passes, and that would be our final item for the Finance Committee.
We'll now go to order the Public Works Committee meeting for September 9th, 2024. Item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of August 12th, 2024, or take other necessary action.
Are there any corrections or a motion regarding the minutes?
Move for approval. Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Without any further discussion, roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of amended ordinance number 3939A, an ordinance setting out the requirements, qualifications, and terms for members of the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board as set out in Section 18-484 of the City of Muskogee Code of Ordinances, and the residency requirements of members, or take other necessary action.
Council Hilton Flannery.
We've had kind of a hard time finding people to fill these vacancies, and we thought if we took it at least out where, as long as you're in the Muskogee city limits, out of the city limits, but in Muskogee County, that it would maybe help us be able to fill these positions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any questions or further discussion? Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Item passes. Item 3, please.
Consider approval of amended ordinance number 4229A, an ordinance of the City of Muskogee by amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 5, Boards and Commissions, Division 12, Municipal Employees Retirement Board, Section 2-471, Membership, Election, and Qualifications, Section 2-472, Terms and Representation by Department, Section 2-473, Absences and Vacancies, providing for codification, repeal or severability, and setting an effective date, or take other necessary action.
Mrs. Eaton.
Good evening. Council has already approved changes to this ordinance, I think back in March, but the dates or the months that were listed in there was too much of a time constraint to allow the necessary steps to hold an election. So we just removed the months and added a part in there where we'll just hold an election as necessary. Staff recommends approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Eaton. Council, have any questions for Ms. Eaton?
Move for approval?
Second it.
Have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Item passes. Item 4, please.
Consider approval of amended ordinance number 4159A, amending the City of Muskogee Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3, City Council Ethics, Article 2, Ethics, amending Section 3-11, Use of the cellular phones and recording devices prohibited, adding repealer, severability, codification, and setting an effective date, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Bonehammer.
Thank you. This proposed ordinance change removes the restriction for cellular phones having to be left outside during council meetings. We have run into issues being able to look up ordinances and other items during council meetings, so it's kind of prohibiting staff and council members from conducting business. And so all we did in this section was strike that council members shall leave their cellular phones and any recording devices with the police officer on duty during the evening, that first additional part. And the reason that I went ahead and removed recording devices is because phones can record, and that way we're allowed to have our phones during session. Happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
No.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 5, please.
Discuss and consider delaying the city CIP tax vote until after the proposed countywide public safety sales tax, or take other necessary action.
Mayor Kell.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm concerned that we might get our CIP tax and the county sales tax confused. I think it would be much clearer to the public if we separate the items. I know that from talking to folks out there and folks associated with this penny sales tax and with the county in general, we've got a lot of support, and we'll have a a lot of people pulling for the city CIP tax, as everyone knows how very important it is. But to not lose or confuse either one of the items, I think we should separate those two by a few months so that they would both be successful. Any other thoughts?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If the CIP is just an extension, why wouldn't it be, what would be the issue with having it at the same time as the penny sales tax if it was just an extension? And even when the CIP was a part of the bond conversation, we said this proposition would be a no-brainer because it's just an extension, and we took items from Proposition 1 of the bond and moved it into the county building. Why wouldn't it, what would be an issue with having both of those at the same time? If it was going to be at the same time anyway?
Well, the issue is, let's not have it at the same time because of the concern of confusing the two. The CIP is not a new tax. The CIP is a continuance of a tax that has been in place. And we want to stand on firm ground and sound ground when we're explaining this to the public, that this CIP is not a tax increase. And we want to make that plain and clear and not confuse it with a tax that is an increase.
I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, that we won't get people to the polls twice. That if we went ahead, because this is just an extension anyway, and explained it that way, like we were explaining it when it was part of the bond conversation, that people would, I think people are bright enough to understand that this is not gonna add to your taxes, this is new, this is not, let's vote yes, yes, or vote no, yes, yes, no, no, whatever, but to have it at the same time, because we've already been having these same conversations, and I just think that we wouldn't be able to get people.
Here's what we did last CIP, and I was real involved in this. We had a real concerted effort into not educating the public, but selling the public on our CIP, selling them about the benefits of the street program and what we wanted to do. And we got support from community leaders and folks out there in the community so that we could pay for literature to go out to voters who vote in the last elections or so. So we're going to target the voters with our information regarding the CIP. It's going to be a real concerted effort, and I think that alone will be very, very helpful.
Can I ask a question? When will the CIP, when will that vote happen? Like what time of the year? Like will it be when there's another thing with it, or will it be a standalone vote?
What? Yes, sir.
Okay, so Patrick, Mayor Kell, I'm not really clear on what action we should take. I want us to remember and keep in the forefront that as a city council, we are working to bring a public committee together that's going to give input, and one of the things that they're going to give input and support is the public safety. When we did the surveys, public safety was at the top of the list, so I'm not really for sure, what this item is asking for. I don't believe that we would interfere, but I don't think that we should lose ground in talking about the two. We need to keep this conversation going at the same time, even if they're not on the same day. We shouldn't bury the CIP with the county penny sales tax, because ours is important as well. We've made it clear that we're going to support the county sales tax. We made that clear in our special call meeting. We got two committees working together, so I think we just need to continue to move forward to reach the goal. And once again, the theme was building a better Muskogee. The proposition for the county is addressing public safety, but when it comes to the CIP, I don't think we're anywhere ready to even present that one in January. But I don't want to take away any of the powers or anything that we're going to assign this public committee to do. And I'm not really clear on, what 5 or 6 action is going to.
Let me make it crystal clear on both items. I'm in 110% agreement with your statement on not wasting a moment regarding the CIP and regarding the bond. I think it is very important that we get started on both of those committees immediately. If it were me, I would separate the committees for reasons we can talk about later. But it's, in my mind, mandatory that the discussion about the bond with the community and the discussion about the CIP with the community is very, very important. And the sooner the better. The sooner the better on that. I'm simply saying, not to confuse everybody again, and I agree with you wanting to have plenty of time to discuss the CIP. I'm terribly concerned that we could screw up one or the other or both of them. And I want to make it clear, and I'm for the county tax, real for it, but I want to make it clear when we do the CIP that it is not a tax increase. It is a renewal of a current tax that has been renewed time and time again, and we can't afford to. And along with educational and community supportive literature, I think having it stand alone would be a smart move.
Okay, I can give the two standing alone, but when we talk about confuse the voters, I don't want them to be confused and think that the January is it and all as well. And so I don't know if I would feel comfortable as a counselor taking position to prioritize one over the other. I know that's the next item. We need to continue just to do our work and, both support each other. But I'm with you, and we hear, not having them on the same day. But at taking any type of action, I'm not kind of clear on why we're taking these actions.
Well, after 5, I'll answer your questions on 6.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions or discussion from the council?
I just have a question. So with 5, we're saying that we're voting to just delay the CIP. You're wanting us to delay the CIP until after everything is completed with the county.
Yes, ma'am. Just that county vote. And it will, the timing of when that happens, the CIP vote, will be, between now and then, will be figured out what the best timing is. And obviously, I think it sounds to me like we're going to get city community input, and that alone, I think, is going to be really, really, really good to help push the CIP forward. I think it appears to me what we are doing with the Go Bonding committees and the CIP is going to be very, very, very helpful to our cause and to better the community. And I really believe that. Having said that, I'd like to move that we delay the CIP vote until after the proposed county sales tax. And between now and then, we can decide when we want to have that.
Can I ask a
Vote.
question?
Yes,
When
ma'am.
are they proposing to have that vote on the county?
I think it is,
January, February?
I think it's February, I think.
so.
Yeah, I think it's
February?
February.
So when would we have our vote for the CIP?
Mr. Manager, when does the CIP expire?
The CIP expires September 30th of next year.
So we would have the vote, and we'd look at the calendar, and I haven't, but we'll have the vote before that time.
I second your motion, Patrick.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from the committee? We do have one citizen signed up to speak in regards to this. When I call your name, please come up to the microphone. and you'll have 5 minutes. Michael Gregg.
Thank you, Mayor and City Manager, council members. I sure like the dialogue I hear. You're expressing your concern in each area that you have. I agree with a lot of what you said, and my comments are basically about that very same thing. So we're going to retrograde back just a little bit. It's really to all of this. It's basically information, as you talked about, Mr. Mayor, getting the public to know what is going on and how things are progressing and so forth. During the meeting we had here concerning the GO bond, the city hired a consultant to present the program and details about that. Thought it was very interesting and good. One comment he made that concerned me that I did not know about, and I hope you address this after I sit down or whenever it's necessary. That's up to you, because it's complicated and I didn't know it till he said, and so then I went out and talked to somebody that knew a lot more than me, which wouldn't be much. He knows a lot more than I know. But transparency and these words to bring things together and information for people and the public notification and the timing is all real good. Transparency, I've heard many times. Patrick, you say that, and Mike said it, and I've heard all of you at one time, the others say about transparency. And the point taken was the lack of success. The last time there was an attempt on the GO bond, and so I think nobody is against doing the things we want to do. I just don't really believe it, because I've talked to a lot of people out, Patrick, as you know, and others have, and I think what they lack is the information, and I think it's very key. And I think you as a whole, you're the body that is required to do that. And there are some points here that I'd like to ask you to address. And again, I don't know the level of expertise in that because I have none. So the consultant mentioned, and he talked about at that time, and I'm going to be referenced, we're retrograding back to the GO bond issue of the 25-year note and then $70 million for a multiple project. Then during his conversation, he said, if I remember correctly, and that's a deadly thing to remember, that I think he said by law, there was a 70-30 rule. And he said that of the $77 million, only 70% of that would go actual to the projects themselves, and 30% was allowed to be used in other areas. And so that was an interesting thing for me to do, because I thought every time, and as presented in the hall meetings, I do believe, that nothing was ever mentioned about the splitting up of the monies that the taxpayers pay, and to my knowledge, and correct me, that the town hall meetings, that was not discussed. I've never heard anything about a 70-30 rule split on bonds, and also I don't know if that extends into CHIP activity, any other bonds, school bonds, the $110 million school bond. I think most people who are giving their tax dollars want to know exactly where it's going. So that's the reason for I'm asking that is that true? If not, we need to be more open and apparent, as you said, Mr. Mayor, letting the public know if not 100% of that money is going to a project or projects, then that needs to be in writing and to the public. Now, according to your own consultant, it's not. Next question is, how many other GO bonds, how many other bonds, how many other things and CHIPs are associated? My understanding is that if it's a voted on tax, the 70-30% rule is there. I don't know. That's what I told by somebody who's involved in that as an expert. So, along with everything you said, I think we need to have a deep study, which is what you're talking about, and getting the information out. Because if that's true, then we've been deceiving the public for whatever time period. So, and I think, Mayor, you're right. All the other members have talked about it. If you want something to go forward and work as it should, and for the future, we have to have transparency. We have to be accountable for what we do. Integrity has got to be involved. Nothing hiding below the shoe going somewhere. We just need to treat the public with the truth. And that's all I'm asking. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mr. Gregg. Yes, Mr. Wheeler.
Go ahead, Mr.
Well, I was going to make a couple of comments, and then I want the manager to correct me or support me. The fellow who was talking about that was technically correct, I believe. Our plans, we had never any consideration of doing a bait and switch. We had no consideration of only using 30% towards the police, or 70 cents for the police, and using it, and switching another 30% over here to some new duck pond. I think, and he can correct me again, I think the school bond was the same, and they might have utilized that to an extent, I believe. Now, I lost part of my train of thought, but that's a technicality, but it's not one to be taken advantage of. Here's what happens. If you put 30 million to one project and you only use 28 million, okay, what do you do with the other 2 million? You know, so there's a little flexibility to move that over to, add a better type of roof to Public Works, if you will. So I don't think that was any gotcha, and we really hadn't talked about that much, but the expert was here, and of course he's saying expert things, but it was not meant to be a bait and switch, and I'm glad you heard it so we could have this conversation. But trust me on that. One more thing I want to say, and I can't speak for the council members here, but I've learned a lot about how to do things wrong and how to do things right. And as far as the mayor goes, you're going to find me real receptive as to any input, anybody, everybody in the community. I suspect it's a lot of us up here. Thank you for coming down.
Mr. Miller?
So I just want to add, I think Mayor Kale said some things very correctly. I think a couple of things that we want to make sure that are clear. That the gentleman speaking, his name was Nate Ellis. He's a bond attorney, and he was talking about bond attorney things, and he was saying you could do this and you could do that. And what we said afterwards, and what if you can go back and look at the documents that this council passed, is we identified 100%. If you take them all and add them up, it adds up to that $78 million, and every penny was identified. What he said was, this law allows you to do this 70-30 thing. And this group, these people that you voted for, chose not to do the 70-30 thing and to do 100% and identify every penny and what project they would go for. And so they did that. I'm glad we're having the opportunity to clear that up, and in any project moving forward, we will do the same. We will make sure that the pennies are identified. Yes, sir. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. But I just wanted to be clear that he was saying that is something. I can't speak to what school bonds allow or don't allow. But he said that is a thing that we can do. It was not a thing that we chose to do. And the public record documents that this council approved identified every penny that added up to that total dollar amount. And that's what we were committed to do, not to move money around, but to do the exact things.
And City Manager and Mayor and City Attorney, Mr. Gray would like to speak with you guys after the meeting also. I address some of these questions.
Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing before we move on to a vote? Mr. Gregg is talking to us about the bond and the CIP again at the same time. I think that if we had the conversation about the CIP separately, because it is just an extension, while we're talking about the EMS building, the confusion that he's talking about would go away. Because the confusion before was the CIP and the bond at the same time. The CIP is just an extension, and if it were not in conversation with the bond, where you're trying to decide whether you want these projects or not, I think we could go ahead and push that through. That's my thought process, is that that's what needs to be separated, because to me, that's where all the confusion is. It's, he's talking about 25 years again, and the CIP is not for 25 years. The CIP doesn't have anything to do with increase of tax, but when we have the CIP conversation with the bond conversation, that always comes up in the CIP conversation. I think moving that conversation piece away from the bond would do us a better service than keeping it with that conversation. Because still, we have citizens, it's confusing. So if we had the opportunity to do it with the EMS building and the county election, it would take away a lot of the confusing conversations that we're hearing, because that is what we're hearing, what he just said to us tonight.
Later? Yes, let's do that later, and we'll be happy to, thank you. I agree and mention to Deputy Mayor that the CIP committee and the bond committees need to be separate committees, not together. It'd be my suggestion. As for voting on the CIP and the county sales tax at the same time, I think that's a big mistake, when I think both of them will pass and can pass. And with the kind of support I've seen from the county representatives already, I know we're going to get a lot of support. I think, and I'm going to do my best to support the county's tax because it's going to a really, really, really good project.
Thank you, Mayor Kell. Is there any other further discussion? We do have a motion and a second on the floor.
Can I just make one more statement? I just want to, once again, I'm not in favor of this as it's written, but I am in favor of the county project. I just believe as a city councilman, we need to be focused on city council work and using words like delaying. We don't have time as city councilors to delay any work that we're doing. And so I don't think we're anywhere close to nearby ready to even compete. We're not in competition with the countywide sales tax, and so I just want to make clarification. That's why I'm not voting for it. It's because my mind is focused as a city councilman on city work, and we need to, put our best foot forward with that. But it's not in competition with the county. So when the words delay, I don't think that we should use terms like that with the work that we have before us, and that's just my thoughts.
Deputy, I don't use the word delay or haven't, or if I have, I haven't meant to. I just think the votes need to be at different times.
It will be.
And so that's what I'm concerned about. But outside of that, and I'm going to tell you my point of view, as far as the county sales tax goes, I think that is one of the biggest, by a lot of money, one of the biggest opportunities for the city of Muskogee to move forward with police and fire than we've ever had and that we may ever have. That's how big of a deal it is to me. And I think if that thing passes and we get the new complex for the police and fire equipment and police equipment and cars in perpetuity from now on, man, if that doesn't benefit the city and help the city forever and ever and ever, I don't know what does. I'm excited about all of these proposals we've talked about tonight.
Can I say something? Derek, what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I just don't think an action of such that we're doing tonight is necessary, because they're not gonna be on the same time.
So
Yeah.
what I'm hearing you say is that the discussion of placing things forward in the CIP is just coming forward with the bond committee.
We
Is that
had the committees, there are some who haven't even turned their names in. And so, we're not going to be ready to present a CIP. And so I just don't want to put a public vote out there, that's saying that, we're going to put our stuff back, because putting our stuff back, we're not going to compete with the county sales tax. And once again, we all agree that city councilors, and Derek Reed is in favor of thinking that those are great ideas as well.
So you're saying, you're each saying like the
Well,
same
listen,
thing, but just
I'd
not.
like to amend my item. And what I would like to amend it to is to discuss and consider having the CIP tax vote at a different proposed date than the countywide public safety sales tax.
Just not the word delay.
Yes, and I understand Deputy Mayor's angst of having the word delay in there, because delay is a pretty meaningful word, and I don't want to delay. All I'm asking for is that we have the votes
At a different time.
times.
And I think both of y'all are saying the same thing.
We are.
No, I think
We
you
just
are.
don't- I mean, Deputy Mayor just doesn't want it to be an agenda item, right?
Yeah,
That's what we vote on, we don't need it.
I don't think
Well,
so.
But-
I think we ought to have a vote on it, just
Not
to
to be at the
say that
same
we
time.
don't want it at the same time. It's a fair enough vote.
Not the word
So
delay.
can we also, if we're going to strike the word delay, can we also strike the word after? We all know what happened with our election. Our date changed. So if perhaps their date changes and they have to get a new date, if we're saying after in what we're voting for, what if our time needs to be before their time if they have to go back and redo something like we had to come back and redo? So can we also strike the word after?
If I can clarify the motion, so the amended motion is to vote on the CIP tax and the county tax at different times.
Yes.
Period.
Well, that
I think that helps. But here's the deal, remember this, that if and when something like that comes up, we can do a whole nother agenda item and a whole nother vote.
Or we could just take out the word after now.
It's not being
Yeah,
used.
she's changed the motion.
Okay.
So, Ms. Bonehammer, would you please repeat what we're voting on, please?
Yes, the amended motion before the body at this time is to vote on the CIP tax and the countywide public safety sales tax at different times.
Okay, thank you.
So do we need a new motion, like a,
I just made one.
That
You
is the amended
second the
motion.
amended motion?
pinned my second.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. Is everyone clear on what we're voting for? Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
yes?
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
And Mayor Patrick Kell.
Yes.
All right, item passes. Item number 6, please.
Discuss and consider the priorities of City Council regarding the proposed countywide public safety sales tax and the city's CIP tax and GO bond, and take other necessary action.
Mayor Kell?
Yes, sir, thank you. Okay, I think that we have an excellent opportunity and an excellent chance to get the needs for the police station done with this countywide sales tax. It's got a lot of other benefits to the community and to the county and surrounding communities. We're going to have EMS services that are now no cost to the public, especially the older folks that will go without food before they miss paying a bill, like a EMS bill, ambulance bill. So I think that we've got that tied up, and we should push that proposal as hard as we can push it. Now, with the city CIP tax, I don't think we should push police or fire because it's already being pushed. Plus, there's other good things that we probably need for the CIP tax. And as far as the GO bond goes, and I don't know how that committee's going to work out or do things, but I would suggest taking a chance on expecting police to pass and spend all of our valuable time coming up with some good GO bond issues. Now, in February, because both of these are going to take some time, if for some reason the sales tax doesn't pass, we can easily slip in some police needs if we deem those the most important needs at that time for CIP or the bond issue. But I don't want anybody to get confused out there. You know, we're working on police and fire with the sales tax. And we've got items that we need for the CIP, and we've got items that we need for the GO bond. Now, if the sales tax blows up, and if we feel the need to put police on the forefront, which I think I would feel the need, well, then we can easily do that right at that time. Because it goes to the most important need in my mind, maybe not everybody else's.
I think that when you present this in this fashion, it is misconstrued that we are not for the county sales tax, and that is absolutely not true. We are all for the county sales tax. However, we are city councilmen, and we have to advocate for the CIP while the county is advocating for the county building. I just feel like when you put us in this predicament to categorize or prioritize like this, we could work on these at the same time. I don't see the confusion, but then if we don't agree, it seems as if to EMS workers and all of these people that are having these conversations that we are against them, and that is absolutely not true. And I think this is putting us in a difficult position with people who voted for us because they feel like we are against something that they need and is valuable when we say we still need to work on the CIP, which is just an extension. And, I mean, it's taking this conversation in a different direction that to me, it doesn't need to go in when we say we're just gonna prioritize one over the other.
It's not prioritizing one over the other.
That's what this says.
I think it's prudent that we don't waste our resources on police and fire on a GO bond while we're trying to pass it on a countywide issue. The same thing for a CIP. Why?
So don't put the public safety portions that are in the county proposal in this proposal. Everybody already complained about CIP and bond, that it was too much. We've already removed the majority, if not all of Proposition 1 from this conversation and moved it over to the county conversation. So when we're having the CIP, because that we know needs to be extended, not even the bond issue, because I think, again, when we have all of this in the same conversation, that's confusing.
Here's
So-
my fear.
I'm not finished with my thought.
Well, I wasn't finished before you interrupted me. Go ahead.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is, with the CIP, we could still have that conversation, and everybody would know, okay, all of Proposition 1 is in the EMS proposal, and we are all on this council 100% supporting that. And then these things that maybe have come from Proposition 2, we would move into what was Proposition 4, the CIP, and it would just be a no-brainer because it's just an extension.
Again, if we're talking about a new police building with either the CIP or either the GO bond, my fear is that if we are out there having committee meetings, talking about a new police station with the GO bond or the CIP, voters may say, well, let's just catch the police with the GO bond, or let's just catch the police with the CIP, when we need full focus on the penny sales tax catching the police. We catch the police on that, and now we're unlimited to do just about whatever we want to on the GO bond, because the police issue on the bond or the CIP would be the main amount of money. I mean, it would be a lot of money. I just hate to see people thinking, well, we can do it on this vote or we can do it on that vote. Why don't we work focusing on passing this penny sales tax in and then focus on our other needs with the GO bond and the CIP. I just don't want to confuse the public at all, and where, well, we can vote. They've been talking about this on, well, you know, we'll do it on the CIP. I just would rather work hard and support everybody on each item, and I want everybody to support the GO bond, I want everybody to support the CIP, and I want everybody to support the penny sales tax. I just don't want to get things confused.
Police and fire were never in the CIP. Police and fire were Proposition 1, and if we explain again that we took everything that was in Proposition 1, thank you, county, for taking that Proposition 1, all those safety items, and moving it to that. That was never in the CIP portion to start with. I think, again, it's going to come with the clarity that we give when we give the information, but that was never in the CIP.
I'm not suggesting it ever was.
So how would that be confusing, though, if it was never there to start with?
Wait, but we're having a new committee for the CIP. We're having a new committee for the bond. We don't know what that committee's priorities may be.
We are leading those committees. So their information will be the information that we give them. If we say to this CIP committee that these are the things that we're focused on because Proposition 1 has been taken care of by the county, how would that be confusing? We're saying you don't even have to worry about police and fire because it's already been taken care of in the county sales tax. All we have to focus on is moving things from Proposition 2 and 3, because that's all we need to see what we need to put into Proposition 4, which was the CIP.
Again, I agree wholeheartedly with you, and I'm in 110% agreement with you. I think, like the deputy mayor and myself, we were both saying the same thing, but saying it differently. If your plans are to, we don't need it in the CIP because we've already got it over here, and we don't need it in the GO bond because that's passed, and now we can do other things with the GO bond, that's exactly what I'm suggesting. So I agree 110%. In the CIP or the bond, in my mind, and I know the city has to give input into it, but after that, with the committees we're going to have, quite frankly, the thought process of the people on the committee, the 30-something people, could be much different than what our thought process were before it all got started. May not be, but it could be.
Deputy Mayor Reed.
Once again, we're spending a whole lot of time on this item, and I'm not clear what the purpose even for this one is. Also, once again, we are in support of the county sales tax. We are in support of that. There's one committee that has not even been formulated, one committee that has not been have not even had one meeting yet, and that was the committee that was supposed to have been put together by our citizens. And I believe that we're taking away the power of our citizens by us tonight, saying here's the priorities. Let the community tell us what the priorities are. They're the ones that's going to have to pay for it. And once again, the county bond, the county sales tax, has nothing to do, once again, with the work of the city council. We have to get to work and do our projects, guys. We have to do our projects because the community is dependent on us to do something. But tonight, to tell, what the priorities are police and fire. We want to make sure the public safety is number one. But what are we doing and what are we saying in item number 6? Once again, is my question.
Okay? We have satisfied number 6. We have discussed and considered the priorities. We've all talked about it in our own aspects and ways, and I'm real pleased with that discussion, and I think we can move on.
I'm going to agree. I don't really know if this item needs a vote. I think I hear what Mayor Kell is saying, is that whenever the committees move forward, if some direction to say like these things, police, fire, hopefully the county sales tax will pass, but if it does not, realize the priorities will change moving forward, that committee to police, fire needs to be added into that GO bond. I don't really know if this necessarily needs a vote or a direct motion.
We just need to discuss it and understand it.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any further comments? Thank you. Item 7, please.
Dr. Hughes, you have someone signed up to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I do, sorry. Mr. Gregg, we do have one community citizen signed up to speak. Michael Gregg, when I call your name, you can come to the podium, you have 5 minutes. You signed up for 5 and 6, sir, so.
Well, actually, I appreciate that. Most of the things were discussed, number 5, but I'm listening here to all of you about the different things. I wholeheartedly believe so much involving the citizens. They pay for everything, and you are to answer to them. So your accountability is the people that pay the taxes. None of you, except for you, pay taxes too. But the majority of the response, Vice Mayor, is the input from the cities, which is very important. Now, I know that's like pulling teeth out of a person to get them to participate, but truly a good effort by individuals here, that can work without a doubt. But don't disregard that,
What's happening?
because the failure of the last attempt was because you didn't, as a committee, no one individually, didn't provide information in those town hall meetings, because that's the feedback I got from the street. So do the job now, however you want to do it. And remember, don't rush. Why, we're in a hurry. Pardon my English. My past wife would kill me for that. But don't get in a hurry when you're dealing with other people's money. It's your responsibility legally, as you know, to reduce your responsibility what you have. You need to do it. I don't care if it happens 2 years from now. I don't give a rip, nor do the citizens, as long as it's done well and thought out well. Because I'm telling you, they want what you want. I really do. But you have to come to a consensus, and dialogue is good. I love it. I love it when I'm face to face. I used to work in the business world. Had several arguments in my daytime with some individuals and with me. I'm kind of stubborn and focused on ideas. But argue for your point, all of you, and come down with a consensus. But remember this, you're responsible to the citizens, not to each other. And I again, commend you on the dialogue. Don't stop. And remember who the boss is, taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gregg. Thank you, Tammy, for catching up. Item number 7, please.
Consider approval of the appointment of Councilmember Dan Hall to serve on the War Memorial Trust Authority beginning September 1, 2024, and commensurate with his term on the City Council, replacing Councilor Alex Reynolds, or take other necessary action.
This is my item, so my recommendation and motion is for Dan Hall to serve on the War Memorial Trust Authority. He has graciously volunteered to do that, and the chairman, James Goley, also recruited him. We may question James's mental acuity, but on that one, but anyways, but that's my motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall? Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Cale?
Yes.
Item passes.
I'm glad y'all all love me.
Item number 8, please. Thank you.
Consider approval of the reappointment of Martin Bebb to the Muskogee Housing Authority to serve a 3-year term beginning August 1, 2024, and ending July 31, 2027, or take other necessary action.
Mayor Kell?
Yes, thank you. Martin Bebb's done excellent work on the Muskogee Housing Authority, and I think we need to send him back. He's a valuable member of the team there.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. No further questions. Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Cale?
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 9, please.
Consider approval of the reappointment of Alice Smith to the Muskogee Housing Authority to serve a 3-year term beginning August 1, 2024, and ending July 31, 2027, or take other necessary action.
Counselor Hilton Flannery.
Yes, Alice Smith has done an excellent job on the Muskogee Housing Authority, and we're thrilled that she's agreed to a reappointment.
Is that your motion?
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Tom Martindale?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Item passes. Before we adjourn, we do have one citizen signed up to speak. When I call your name, please come up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. Mark Hughes.
Your one-page sheets in front of you, it's about city ordinance number 30-A, section 2-553, budget availability. On paragraph D, you'll see where it says, "The city treasurer shall cause a city's audited financial statement to be included on the website within 30 days if it's accepted by the city council." That's not a problem. We comply with that. The paragraph B, I don't think we've complied with since I returned from the Marine Corps in 1996. At least quarterly, the city treasurer shall have posted on the website a budget report for the current calendar quarter, as well as fiscal year to date by department or fund as appropriate. A couple days ago, I went on the city website. I couldn't find any quarterly reports by fund or department on there. And I think why that was included in there was to make sure that we don't have any fraud, waste, and abuse. If you can see how each department or fund, how the money is spent and where it went each quarter, and that almost guarantees the prevention of fraud, waste, and abuse. So next quarter, I look forward to seeing those documents on the city's website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. With that, we adjourn.
Okay, we will now call to order tonight's special call agenda, Muskogee City Council, September 9th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Mayor Patrick Kale?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Here.
Jamie Stout?
Here.
Tracy Hous?
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Here.
CB Abel? Melody Cranford?
Here.
Dan Hall?
Here.
Tom Martindale?
Here.
Thank you. Item number 1.
Approve the appointment of John Tyler Hammonds to serve as the acting judge of the municipal court of the city of Muskogee pursuant to section 34-86 of the city of Muskogee Code of Ordinances, or take other necessary action.
Yes, as everybody here is probably well aware, we don't have a judge of any capacity right now. So I would like to appoint Mr. Hammonds to serve as acting judge of the municipal court of the city of Muskogee, and look forward in the near future to nominating him as the judge position, for the judge position. Other than that, I'd like to move that we appoint Mr. Hammonds to serve as acting judge of the municipal court of the city of Muskogee.
Second.
Need a second?
We got it. Roll call.
Tom Martindale?
No.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Melody Cranford?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Patrick Kale?
Yes. Motion passes. We are now going to adjourn. Thank you, everybody.